back to the unleashing. I'm going to try and stay on point on this video. I've got so many things going through my head in different directions that I'd really like to just stay on as straight a topic as I possibly can. With all the things taking place right now, I've watched it all, I've seen all the videos, I've heard every different thing, I've got different ideas on things that I would like to talk about, but behind all of it, I've really been struggling to make some videos, and that's the honest truth. I'm really having a hard time talking, and it's a frustration that I have really with people that I see, Christian, what people call as a Christian community and stuff like that. And this morning I was sitting in my chair, and I was thinking about the people out there, and I'm looking for a reason to do this, and honestly, I thought about some of the few kids and things like that that are new Christians, and maybe they found God at a church camp or something like that, or they've just watched some videos and they decided to place Jesus first and ask Him to be their Savior, and they don't know a direction to go, and they can't talk to their family, and there's really nobody there for them, and the only thing they have is a YouTube video or something like that. And I really was thinking about it, and I feel for those people, whoever they are, wherever they are, and some of you watch me and you keep quiet and stuff like that, and you just want to know the truth, and I understand absolutely how frustrating and difficult that it can be when there's so many other channels and things out there that you go to hear from, and you don't know because you're new that it's whack. What they're saying is that it's complete bunk and it's nonsense, and it could leave you confused and troubled on which one do you go to. And most of the time, and you guys know it that watch me, that I talk to a more advanced group of people, at least they're supposed to be, those that have already read the Bible all the way through. So when I throw out Malachi prophecy and other prophecies in Daniel and things like that, even though Malachi prophecy wasn't in the Bible, you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't have to go back. The equivalent of walking into Einstein with a bunch of scientists, and they have equations on the board. They've already gone through the reasons of what they are, so instead of explaining each time, you just draw out your C equals MC squared, or whatever it is. All right. The point is, with the Bible prophecies and things like that, that's what we're doing, so we can bounce through it fast and get to the point of a topic of why something looks this way and that way, and so it's kind of designed towards that when I talk about stuff. But at the same time, I also know what's going on. Most people don't have a clue of what I'm talking about. They're just waiting to hear, oh, he said the word rapture. And then they scurry off to the next rapture video on when it's going to happen and stuff like that. And nothing's really getting through to the point or to anybody. And, that's frustrating in itself. But a lot of times I feel bad because I want to talk to some of the younger folk that are in Christianity, as in new, whether you're old or younger, it's totally fine, and talk to you, because some of the direction it can be very, very difficult, and I understand that you won't have answers that you're looking for in church. What if you want to know about aliens? What if you want to know about other topics and things like that? What if you want to talk about Revelation or the Rapture? And you don't get to do that, so you have to come to places like mine or the channel and try to figure out what you can from it and what's going on. And I understand that this can be very confusing. And I'm going to try and get to a point on different things and point some stuff out without getting too deep. And I'm really just trying to step back in this. I felt like I got off the horse and I didn't want to get back on making any videos here. And but I'm really going to try and do this right now. If I can maybe show what to watch out for in a way, maybe you guys will have a better understanding. There's people out there that call themselves prophets and things like that. What is a prophet, In the Bible, which I encourage everybody to be reading all the time, to know it all the time, and constantly read it. It's a daily walk that you take so that you know what's going on. Let's say this channel shuts down and YouTube goes down completely in general, right? Or let's say things don't work out the way that we want them to, and maybe we get a little bit of heat before there's a peace deal, and maybe millions of people even die. All right, this is a possibility. Tribulation technically hasn't started. There's a pre-war or something like that. Okay, and you're reliant because you've decided, no, I don't believe what he says. I'm not going to read the Bible or know it for myself. I'll just keep listening or watching a video, and all of a sudden that gets taken from you, and now you don't know the direction to go and what to do next, and you're looking for somebody to teach you, and you're already screwed. You're screwed. And if that were to happen to me, well, I have my Bible, I know how to read it, and I talk to God, and I'll see what's next, and I already have things that are laid out because I've been walking with Him for years. Let's say my Bible's taken from me. I already have it written on my heart. I might not be able to remember every verse or anything like that, but I understand all of it, what's going on and where it's set in places, and I can think of those different things. Nothing is going to be taken from me. If you don't have that, you're in a dangerous place, especially right now in the time that we're in. That's why I'm constantly encouraging people to read it. So if you're new to Christianity, this is definitely what I want you to do. I want you to spend time with the Lord every day. And even if it's only one chapter, and if you need to start with smaller ones so you can get the hang of it, start in Psalms. They're small, and just read one chapter, okay? And then work your way from there to where you're doing a couple. And you do this every single day, and you go over it, and you're going to find that even stuff that you've read before, you're going to read it again, and it's gonna open up something completely different that you didn't know this last time. It's gonna help you another way. And don't just bounce around. Pick something and go through it all the way for a book or something like that, and go all the way through it until you've read it, and then move on to your next. And it'll make a world of difference, all right? It'll really help you. And if you know this, you're starting to develop something. You're starting to develop the weapon that you are as a Christian that you don't realize it yet. And this weapon, when it is dropped into a location, can influence other people, help you show your character, you can answer questions, you can give hope to people, you can tell them how to find the Lord, and then those people can do the same thing as well. It's a selfless walk. It has nothing to do with making money. Don't ever let anybody tell you that it does. Timothy is very self-explanatory on it's not for gain's sake or anything like that. Being a Christian is a selfless walk, and it's more like being a Jedi. If you've seen Star Wars, and I can use that reference because most people have, it's kind of like being a Jedi, and you're only working to develop more of an ability, which comes with more selflessness and more walking close with the Lord. And your power comes from Him, okay? There's no cheating way around this. You don't do it through witchcraft or demons and things like that, which I want to discuss too, for people that are messing with that stuff and still calling themselves Christians. But if you do this and you have a selfless attitude about it, where it's not for your gain's sake or it's not for your glory or your vanity, you can bestow even more and given more to use, and it's not for you, and the weight will increase. So does the responsibility, and so does your understanding of what you need to know about being selfless in the process of it. And it can be very challenging, but you can do it. And the more dangerous you are, the more that you can help in a situation. Because people will come with hard questions and things like that, and you will have the answers. And at first, you might not. It's very difficult. It can be, especially in the beginning, you won't have all the answers. But as time goes on, you will. You will start to develop this and become more powerful. And that's where I want to see you. That's truly where I want to see you, because people like that are dangerous and are out there, they don't need to say anything. They don't need to tell me what they are. I already know that you are, and that's good enough, and I want to know that you're out there in the first place, okay? But one of the topics that I want to talk on, as I bounce around and pick a few different things that are on my mind right now, is all these people that claim to be prophets. I've talked about it before, your Mark Taylors and stuff like that. Wherever this idea came from, that you can write down whatever's on your mind, and that's hearing from God. So saith the Lord, your bank account's going to get better, or the economy's going to do this, or yes, definitely Trump's the way to go, and Q is going to take care of the problem. Stick with the plan. These are not prophecies. These are not words from God. These are man-made things that are made up, and it's not. And I'm going to show you what it actually looks like to hear from God. And I want you to remember this, okay? Zechariah, okay? This is one of the prophets. This is what one looks like. Chapter 1, I'm only going to read a little bit. In the 8th month, in the 2nd year, Darius came came the word of the Lord unto Zechariah the son of Berechiah, son of Iddo, the prophet, saying. All right? And I'm going to stop right there. What is something that we notice? The first thing he writes down is in the 8th month, in the 2nd year of King Darius. Okay? This is giving a reference to the time. All right? It doesn't happen every day. Sometimes you can go for years and you don't hear, but when it is, it's prophetic, it's powerful, it stands out, and it's proven. It can be tested later. It'll be shown for what it's worth, that it really was from God, and you can know that, okay? Haggai, chapter 1. In the 2nd year of Darius the king, in the 6th month, the 1st day of the month, came the word of the Lord by Haggai the prophet unto Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, Joshua the son of Josedek the high priest, saying. I'm going to stop right there. What do we have again? In the 2nd year of King Darius, all right, this Babylon, in the 6th month. They're recording this exactly when it happens. It's a completely different person, okay? Not all the time, not an answer for this, oh, thus saith the Lord here, thus saith the Lord there. It's whatever God wants to put out at his time to somebody that he chooses to put out, all right? This is why I'm going to tell you it's an incredible, incredible thing to hear from God. And it's very powerful, okay? Zephaniah, the word of the Lord, which came unto Zephaniah, the son of Cushi, the son of Gedaliah, the son of Amariah, the son of Hezekiah, in the days of Josiah, the son of Amon, king of Judah. Yet again, giving a reference to the time and when it happened, knowing it precisely, because it's rare. It does not happen all the time. It's very special. And when you know that it's special, you cherish it, okay? You don't just throw it out whimsically, all right? Now, as I'm doing this, how many of you can think back to YouTube videos that you've seen where people are doing just the opposite, making up prophecies on whatever's going on, and they're written down, okay? Wherever this idea came from, whatever it is, that is not hearing from God. Can somebody hear from God in a way of encouragement that you can say? Yeah, sure, and you could say something. But if it ever starts to get to a direction of what's happening other than encouragement, I would be very cautious of it. It starts to get into a dangerous place, okay? It's something that you definitely want to watch out for and be cautious of, because there's tons of them out there saying this and that, prophecy 444 and all this other stuff. Now, can people say things that are true that go along with Scripture? Yeah, sure, they're mixing a little bit of Scripture, but they're not actually hearing from God. They're making it up, what they want to say, for their own glory or attention or to be a prophet. I am not a prophet. Can God give me a word that would be something that's prophesying? Yes. I'm not going for the title of prophet, okay? Because this starts to go after things like vanity. If you start to do this for yourself, if you start to go after glory, all right, you can find yourself being stripped of just that, okay? And that's someplace I don't want to go. It's why I don't talk completely about everything that I can do. If it was told to me that it would be okay in a way that it would be all right to do so, then I might be more tempted to do it. But I'm more worried that if I say it, it would fall into somebody saying, oh my gosh, that's incredible, you're so great. And I don't want that to happen, nor do I want anybody to ever follow me in a way that is going to get them off track. You're to go to God first, ultimately and all the time, all right? Not relying on men or women, but to have that relationship with God first and foremost, okay? That's the most important thing that you do as a Christian, okay? Keep that in mind. Every single one of these prophet books that you can read, from Zephaniah, Habakkuk, Daniel, and all that, you will notice that when they talk to God or when God hears from them, they have the time marked down. It's usually a special day they will remember. It stands out. It's very special, okay? And they know it's from God, and it stands a test of time. And it's proven and shown itself to be proven over time, okay? All the time when God talks. It isn't some nonsense that does not come true or this or that or anything like that, okay? And I want to point this out because if you know this, when you see it and people doing the opposite of this, you can instantly go, that's nonsense, and it's not the direction. Does that mean that you can't hear from God? Not at all. That's the whole point of why I'm trying to do this the whole time, is so you can develop this relationship with God, because to hear from God is one of the most incredible things you can possibly imagine. I told you in 2008 or 18, I heard from him 3 times. That is incredible. And I'm not talking, there is multiple levels on this. There is the comfort of the Holy Spirit. Yeah, he's talked to me a bunch of times this year, just comforting, different things like that, the right direction, what I should do. Maybe I should make another video again because I'm feeling down about it. I don't know if I should. Little nudges here and there. Then there's times where you might hear a little something else. And then there's the stuff that really stands out loud. It's groundbreaking information you couldn't have possibly come up with yourself. Not only that, but when you check into it, it starts being proven and it's showing more later on. That's the kind of stuff where I'm like, wow, that's hearing from God for reals, okay? And then there's one step above that where you hear from him audibly, all right? Very rare. It's only happened to me once, and it was the first time that he ever talked to me, okay? But the rest of the time, you hear something loud and it's in your spirit. And this usually comes at a quiet time or a special time. Most of the time, when you're by yourself and you're talking with God, and it's really amazing. All right, in 2016, April, I'm by myself in work, and I'm talking to God about voting for Trump, all right, because I wanted to know, oh, could this really work? We don't want Hillary and blah, blah, blah. But it's just me and him, and I'm talking, and I'm not really expecting anything. And a lot of times you're talking to him, and he's just hearing, but you don't get a word back, okay? This happens a lot. In fact, it'll be the majority of the time, okay? But when this happened this time, all right, Jesus instantly said, all right, let the dead bury the dead. And that's all he said. And I go, whoa, because it stood out and it was loud. Right when I said, should I try and vote for Trump? Let the dead bury the dead. And instantly I'm like, wow, I know that that's in the New Testament, and it's in Luke and Matthew and a few other places. I'm like, man, I haven't read that in a long time, so there's no reason for that to just stick out. So I'm instantly looking. Did I just hear from God? Trying to look into it. One thing you'll notice when you hear from God is it gets more powerful over time. It sticks more in your mind. While other memories fade away, the God memory gets stronger, grows, and it binds to your mind. You'll never be able to forget it. It's absolutely incredible, okay? So remember that. I ended up looking later on into Luke, and what I was doing at the time in 2016 is I was out on my quest trying to talk to my friends, but in the meantime, I was starting to branch out, and I was starting to talk to other people, okay? And quite a bit before I'd even made it and started making this channel. And so my total mission was to preach the gospel to the world, okay? Now, I don't know the rest of the verse at this time, even though I've read it all and stuff like that. You'll forget things, and that's understandable. Let the dead bury the dead, all right? Luke 9:60. Let the dead bury the dead, and now the explanation comes after it, but go thou and preach the kingdom of God, all right? What was God telling me when he spoke to me in that very blunt, fast way? Don't even worry about that stuff. Don't worry about the Trump thing. It has nothing to do with you. I have you on a mission, and your mission is to preach the gospel. And there it is, which is exactly what I was doing. You see how that stands out? And later, a few months later, when I kept thinking about what he said and stuff like that, I look in the verse and I see after the colon to continue to preach the gospel, and that is my confirmation. All right, this is the confirmation you'll get from God. Wow, that's exactly what I'm doing, what he asked me to do in the first place, and what I've been trying to do the whole time, okay? That gives you your knowledge that that's exactly what's happening, okay? I told you. Last year, all right, on Feast of Trumpets, I'm talking to God again, and I'm by myself, and I just found this verse recently. I saw it online or whatever, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, because it rings home so well. And I told you guys what happened. For a split second, I was pulled into another dimension, all right? Whatever this realm was, kind of looked smoky, and there was a light above me, and I could kind of look around. This happened within an instant of a second, but when I was there, it felt like it was about 15 or 20 seconds. It was a different approach for me hearing from God, and I'm thinking about all the different things and running it through my mind, and I'm getting close to a thing, an idea, and I sense snow coming down, the smallest of flakes coming down, and the second they touched my shoulder, as lightly as possible, I'm instantly given that the Feast of Trumpets isn't for the rapture, it's for the second coming, okay? A massive, massive clue that I had needed to look for this the whole time. From this point on, I could start to work my way back, reverse engineering the end of the rapture with the time that I know from Daniel and things like that, okay? Now, knowing this, and since back then, only like last month did I find this verse. What is this again? It's another confirmation. Isaiah 55:10. For as rain cometh down and snow from heaven, that returneth not hither, but watereth the earth and make it bring forth the bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunder I sent it. Okay? Massive confirmation from the whole snow thing, and I've talked about it with everybody, and I've never seen or noticed or remembered that verse before until I just recently found it, right? This is a confirmation to me that what happened was God, his word was coming down, and where I was taking and what I was showing is a representation of that very verse in a physical form. Very interesting, all right? The other time was last year that he told me that the flat earth movement was under a curse, something that's bothered me for a very, very long time, and you guys know that. And afterwards, I decided to go take a look again at what I saw, because in the spirit, I saw Rob Skiba Flat Earth Convention with others with a huge cloud on the back of all their heads. And I couldn't figure out what it was, and when I was told they were under a curse, I went back and looked to see what was going on, only to discover that a massive majority are into false doctrines, and a lot of them are replacement theology that absolutely hate the Jews. A very dangerous place that is warned about in Romans 11 by Paul. All right, we're grafted in as Christians, okay, and Gentiles, and into adopted, and we should always be grateful for that. And the way that I look at that all the time is as if a father, a king, were to adopt me off the street as a total bum, and he has his son, which is his bloodline. All right, I am absolutely grateful for my father. I want to do everything I can for him. All right, and I know, because I've read it in the future, that the son that's kind of being a brat gets it right, and things turn out really good, and he appreciates his father and everything like that. Okay, and I long for the day that happens, but it's not for me to judge my brother in the meantime. It's my job for me to pray and help him out any way that I can, and know that someday he's going to come full circle to the appreciation of it. But in the meantime, I love my father more than everything, and I'm grateful for what he's done, all right? And I think that that is how Christians should look at it when they look at the Jews, okay? Because that's exactly how it is. And if you aren't like that, and you start hating them and all this other nonsense, replacement theology, that they have no place and they're fake and all this other stuff, you're putting yourself into a left behind situation that is absolutely, you're throwing your life away. That's very stupid, okay? All right? That was the other thing I heard. And another thing that I heard last year, early spring, because I was talking about it, I'd heard Steve Quayle and a bunch of the group had gotten into this gap theory idea that there was stuff going on way before the creation and stuff like that. And it's bunk. It's nonsense. It's not true. All right? And there's many different things that prove that the earth is young, and so is the solar system and everything else. And it really is in the timeline of the Bible. Okay? And when I was walking to the kitchen, a light, what felt like from behind me, shot out of like heaven back to the back right of my head. And I was told that God folded out time from the middle, like a flower blooming. All right? What does this look like? You can have a full tree with rings that go back what would be years. All right? But that's not where it grew up from. It started from the middle. Only to find out later and know from people that have experienced and talked to God and in heaven that he's always in the present. Everything flows both directions from him. So from his perspective, when he created it and time flowed both directions, it really is coming from him being in a present situation at all times. It's very interesting. And of course, this can open up into other things that get into what I've dubbed gray time. Can it be traveled back in by fallen angels? Can they plant things or grow things in the past that will also come up to that time because it's traversable? Possibly. But that gets into a whole other subject. The point is, each one of these times that I hear from God, and there's been other times, it's always special. And it's proven later, it can be counted on, and he shows you, and it has meaning, and it's usually groundbreaking, okay? Something you've never heard before. It's incredible. Something that can change the world in a point of view, okay? And it's very special. You don't take it lightly at all. It isn't whimsical, and you don't throw it. You don't throw it out. You cherish it. You hold on to it. Have I heard anything massive like that this year? No, I haven't. And just like the prophets of old, and I'm not a prophet, I'm a grateful adopted son of the Most High. I'm grateful for him and everything that he showed me and done for me. All right. No, I have not heard from him this year. Does that mean that he doesn't love me or anything? No. Maybe it just means that there is anything to talk to me about, or maybe he's working on my patience, or a number of things, or possibly faith. Okay. But the times that he does talk, I'm always grateful for it. I've heard from him different times, several times. There's another time when I was about to go into work, and I just got done fasting, looking for an answer. And I wasn't all the way to the end of my fast. I'd only made it about partially over a day. And he spoke to me when a song was playing. And he said he hadn't forgot about me, and he still had big plans for me, and I never knew what that was, but I've always wondered, ever since I was heard when I was a kid from my mother, that when she heard from God, that'd be special and that I would be blessed. And I never knew what it was, and I still don't think I have the full idea until I get out of here. But I'm always searching for that, trying to do my Father's business the whole time. And there's been a few times where he has, but like I say, it's always special, all right? And you'll know it when you hear it. You hear what I'm saying. I'm trying to give you an example. So if you hear somebody talking, all right, and it starts to sound similar where they heard something, and I'm not talking about True News Rick Wiles, because I've heard him do a false interpretation of this, where he's hating on the Jews, and then his idea comes, which he already knew was going to happen because he hated them, and he was playing on it anyways, and then he says it's from the Holy Spirit. No, it's from his father, Satan, okay? But when you really hear it, okay, you'll know. And it'll speak to you, and it'll stand out, and it'll go along with the Bible, and it'll be a revelation, and it'll be shown to be worth its truth later, okay? And that's how you'll know. And the rest of the time when they do it, no, I would more discard it than I would listen to it, okay? And I would take that very serious. Back before Jesus showed up, I'm going to watch my time here. They used to talk to God when they had the temple and things like that through these two rocks called Uman and Thurman, and it was basically like an ask question. They would roll the dice, and that's how they'd talk to God, okay? And I see many people doing a version of that where they are asking God about something, and then they find the first letter or number that they see, and then they go into Strong's Concordance or something like that and read what it says. Is that hearing from God? Man, that is not how you're supposed to talk to God. You're supposed to be calm in your spirit. It's not on demand. It can take some time. You might ask for a long time, and he speaks at the right time, okay? It's not a roll of the dice. And even though they were doing that back then, and it was okay, when the temple and everything was destroyed and Jesus came for us to have that personal relationship, took the keys, went back to heaven, we all get to talk directly to God through him. That's why we say in Jesus' name. Okay? That's our authority to go through it. If you've asked him in your heart, if you've bent the knee to Jesus Christ, okay? And you serve God. All right? And that's how we talk to him. We don't throw rocks. We don't look at numbers. Can something like that happen? Yeah, but that's not hearing from God. That's more like maybe a slight wink, all right, if it lines up, okay? It's not something that you take. Can it go along with something? Yeah, sure, there's coincidences for sure. There's also encouragement. Sometimes somebody says something by accident, and it's what you needed to hear anyways, because God watches over everybody individually, and he can flip things around into the way that he does. I heard a story today. A preacher was talking, and he said, I've had it happen before lots of times where somebody would come up in the crowd and they would say, what you said is exactly what I need to hear. Thank you so much. Well, what is it that you heard? And they'll tell him. And the pastor will be like, oh, that's really great. But the pastor knows that he never said that at all. But God was directing that person. And I can totally see that in a lot of ways because it's all individual. It's very special. And it's a personal relationship that each of us are supposed to grow. And you can't go into the battlefield, totally legendary right off the start. It sometimes takes a long time. I've said before that I want to fast track you, and I just talked to my sister today, and I can't have a better sister. She's incredible, and I was talking to her, and she made a very good point. As fast as I want people to learn so that they can be weapons and things like that, I can only give you the information. And she made it more of a better point that it's arming you, and that's what I've tried to do with all these videos, so you can go back and watch different things that you have questions of, and this is an arming. But the experience itself, that depends on you and how fast that you want to go. You can take it very fast, all right, but always be appreciative. All right, there's something that comes with going through the struggles themselves. It creates an appreciation for it. Whereas a child that's given everything he wants has no appreciation, crashes the vehicle. When a child has to earn it, pay for every broken part, install it, and fix it, they take care of it. It's precious to them. It's important. All right, it's the same thing. So when you do hear this, don't thank me. All right, I don't need the thanks. It's totally fine. Thank God every time, and I'm always going to tell you the same thing. Give the glory back to God, right? That's where it's at. That's where the importance is, and that's what I want you guys to know. If you heard anything, that's not me. I'm just blabbing, all right? It's what God wanted you to hear, and if it helps you, then you thank Him, all right? And if it did, I'm happy for you, and that's totally great. Thank me in heaven or something like that. You don't have to worry about it now. Give the glory to God, and He's the one that deserves it anyways, right? It's so important for this, so always keep that in mind, okay? Now I want to talk about something, all right? I really want people to pay attention to this, okay? Nobody knows when the rapture is going to happen. We know that there's times that are coming. We know that it's looking very soon. Do I believe it's still lined up for this summer? Oh, absolutely. Does that give me joy? Yes. Do I want it to happen more than ever? Yes, so bad. Are we to be jumping between one rapture person to another, and then losing all hope when it doesn't happen at that time? No. You're to be grounded. Grounded. What does that look like? High, low, come and go, death or not, you are sold out for Christ. If Jesus decided, you know what, Jared, I'm going to leave you behind because you screwed up, all right? Whatever the reason is, once saved, always saved, or some nonsense, okay, that I've done, all right? Does that change me? No. I'm going to do everything I can. There is no other way. It has to be through God. I live, I die for Him, and I'm going to find my way to heaven, okay? I already know that, all right? And I want to be there, okay, more than anything, so I know that I'm going to go. My fear is not if I'm going to make it to heaven. One way or another, I'm going there, and I count on the Lord to take me, okay? My fear is when I get there, all right, with the one chance that we get, this one testing phase that I've warned you guys about so many times, and there is a meeting with God, all right, that they want to discuss something, and He brings in the elite, those that have walked in the path and done everything righteous for God, selflessly, honorably, and they get called in, and I get cut off because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to, and I didn't do enough. I wasn't living for God in a way that took me to that place, okay? All right? That right there, knowing that not only that, but when I am told that, no, I can't be brought to this meeting because I'm not in a high enough position, all right, that it's justified. And there's no arguing with it at all. It's totally justified, and He's right. No, and I didn't. I screwed that up. And to walk away knowing that they're talking about the coolest thing ever with the master of the universe, and I'm not a part of that. Or the ranks get put into Armageddon and we're going back to take out the bad guys, something that I want to do very bad. And I'm stuck back in such and such row instead of the very front line, first in the battle. That's what scares me, all right? Am I going to heaven? Yes. Do I believe in Jesus taking me there? Yes, absolutely. Am I going to the rapture? It sure looks like it, especially when I was given that vision, okay? Will I do anything for God? Absolutely, all my life to get there and always serve Him? Absolutely. So one way or another, I'm going to heaven, okay? But that's not the scary part. The scary part is, what did I screw up in the process of throwing different times in my life when I could have talked to somebody and I didn't? Or I wasn't doing the right thing and I scared somebody off and they didn't find God. And these things will be brought up and I'll know it, to Bema Seat judgment. And it won't be a judgmental thing, but I'll know, all right? And I look at these people, they're looking for rapture dates, one after another. And you're just ignoring what I'm saying right now. You don't want to have anything to do with serving God, all right? Your boyfriend dumped you and things are bad. I want the rapture. Alright? Maybe you do go, okay? And you are at the lowest level possible, and it's still radical being in heaven. It's totally amazing, but you know forever, and I can see your face right now in the future. And that's hanging your head low, knowing that you didn't do anything, and you could have done so much more, and you were given things to do stuff, and you didn't do it. Well, I see people crying because the rapture happened on the 17th this month, which you should have already known was bunk, okay? I don't need to tell you that. Anybody setting a date, all right, that guarantees it, you should already know is bunk, okay? And not to listen to them ever again because they're absolute nonsense and they're lying to you, all right? You shouldn't be sad. You should be grateful, okay? Grateful that you still have a moment, because if you're being duped by that stuff, then I guarantee you're not living to your fullest for Christ. And now you have a chance to still talk to a few more people, to bring people like your family in and talk to them. And that is far more important in the long run when you finally do get up there and he says, well, John, good and faithful servant. You're going to be feeling a lot better than you made it by your the skin of your teeth, okay? And yeah, sure, you're in, but you did absolutely nothing, all right? And even worse, all right? Those that are listening to me right now and you're not going in the first place, okay? I'm telling you, I've seen Nazis and witches inside my own comments, all right? Watching my channel that are waiting for the rapture. Oh, we need to have it happen, everybody can die, screw the Jews, or who cares about the world, I'm ready to go. And you got a ball and chain on your ankle, and you don't even realize that. And when they get blasted off, you're going to be left here, left behind. I've warned you so many times, you cannot be a Christian and be a witch, a warlock, a Nazi, or anything of the sort. You're to give up those things. Is there power that comes with being that? No, most definitely. Is it a false power that will only give you as much to drag you on in the meantime? You better believe it. And it'll steal your soul, and it'll kill you. Can you have magical things happen? Yes, absolutely. Is it real? Totally. I've looked at people online that witches, sorcerers, and stuff like that, and I see their mind. I look right into it, and it's clear, and it's fast, and it makes the majority of Christians I see look like complete dupe idiots. It really does, and it's frustrating to me because when I look out, I want to see Christians as the weapons, the legends, the elves, and Lord of the Rings, something that is inspired to be like. That's legendary and totally radical. And instead I see the mopey, gutter trash fighting and squabbling over things in the next rapture date. Okay? And these people have unbelievable more power, even though they're getting it through demons. Is that a match for somebody like me? No, they don't have a chance. You guys have no comprehension of what I'm talking about when I say power from God. Where does this come from? It comes from God, all right? And every time you push away the world and that selfish desire of vanity, God says, I can trust him with more. You're going to get more, and you're going to get more, and the weight is going to come down on your shoulders, and it isn't to boast yourself above high, it's to lead the pack, okay? You guys have heard me say it before, I'm going to say it again. Obviously, I am a leader. I've been told it my whole life. Do I know that? Yes. Am I doing it in the same way the world does? Absolutely not. You guys have heard me say before when I was going in to be a personal trainer. What's your goals? My goal is to teach the people so they don't need me in the first place. So they're self-sufficient, so they can save money, so they know how to use all the machines in their way. All right? Can they listen to me and still have me? Yeah, sure, that's totally fine. But the ultimate goal is to help them and encourage them to make it to that place so they don't need me in the first place and they can walk. This is the same thing I am trying to do with you and those that are Christians, to develop you into a way where you don't need me. Instead, you can just enjoy when you hear something good, and that's good enough. Not something you rely on, something that you need or have to hear every week, but when it does come out, you can be thankful if it helped you. If not, oh well, and you thank God, and you go back to that relationship where you're talking to him every day, and this develops that, all right? And you will go through the test, and just like a fighter, you will find out what you messed up on, what you can do better next time. And you will do that, and you will increase. What if it's still a little ways off before the rapture? Then take this time to develop yourself. Become the weapon. Watch your 401k, your rank. What's going to happen in heaven, besides you making it if you're already saved? watch that grow and store your treasures in heaven where the moth and the rust doesn't destroy it and you have it forever. Okay, this is what I want you to do, not jumping from rapture date to rapture date. There is no rapture date that we know. Could we see some things that might give us the possibility of the tribulation starting? Yeah, sure. If we see a peace deal about to be set, which looks like it is, can we call that if we know the day that it is? Yeah, sure. Do we know when the rapture is going to happen? We can never call a day, okay? Even knowing that the Feast of Trumpets is for the second coming, do I know that that is in that time, or does that float within the whole 2,550 days? Does that go all the way up to Feast of Atonement, 5 days later or 7 days later, and we come in a little bit before that, but that's counted in because the Battle of Armageddon takes a week? Possible. We just know that it fluctuates within there for 7 years. It starts in the fall, it'll end in the fall, around the Feast of Trumpets. What I was told by God, that is what the Feast of Trumpets will be for, and then the feast will fulfill, just like they did the first time with Jesus here, Feast of Trumpets, Feast of Atonement, Feast of Tabernacles, and it will play out just like he did the first time, okay? All right? But we do know that it's coming, and we can see the signs very much, all right? But as we know that, we cannot set a date on this, and you're not to get down about it, okay? If you do, I understand, but get up again. Don't be frustrated and continue on the fight, trying to lead others, talk to your family, and do what you're supposed to. And don't let that destroy you. Let that only make you stronger. That gives you more time to do it, okay? And anybody, there is no level that is compared to it. I'll throw out Billy Graham's talk to millions of people, okay, in the past, okay? And then there's me. And then there's an African kid, all right, that's come from nothing, from a village, but found Jesus, and maybe he's moved to America, we'll say, and he's in the same financial system as me, which, of course, isn't that great in America, but from Africa, he's doing pretty good, okay? And he's talked to the same amount of people as me and has led as many people as I have to the Lord. Are we equal? Not even close. The guy beat me by 1,000,000 miles. He's come from less and done what I did. I should be ashamed. I should be doing way more. So is there a comparison between you and Billy Graham? No. You are given something and you make the most of it, okay? And that can be an encouragement. So if you're thinking, oh, that guy's so far above me, I won't be able to reach that. Not necessarily at all. You were given something. If it's small, you are at more of an advantage to do better, because if you've came from nothing and you can create something more, leading people to Jesus and so forth, oh, you're doing way better than the guy that started with everything and has only done a little bit or that same amount, all right? So don't compare it like that. It's every individual walk, and that is something you can give you encouragement. Hey, there is no comparison. If you're comparing yourself to me or something like that, don't do that. Don't worry about me. Fight yourself. Enjoy that. Enjoy the camaraderie that you have between Christians, but it's that personal walk that you're going to have. I won't stand there in front of you. In heaven, it's going to be you and God personally, every single one, okay? So you can't put it on anybody else. It has to be between you and Him, and that is something you always have to keep in mind. Okay, you'll stand in front of Him yourself, and He'll ask you, and it's going to be, hey, how's it going, Jimmy or whatever, Jared? He knows you perfectly well, or I didn't hear from you at all. I never talked to you once, and everything was a sham that you were doing. Right? Being a Christian isn't a social club; it's a personal relationship with God. I've told you before. The Catholic Church was started by Simon the Magus. Peter never went to Rome, okay? He was buried in Israel, and that's where he stayed. Paul says it in the Bible. So when the Catholic Church was founded through Simon the Magus and has the Babylonian nonsense that's in it, and the sorceries and things like that, when it was broken off from Martin Luther, they brought the ideas from the Catholic Church. The problem is the whole idea from the start in church buildings is straight whack. Never had anything to do with it. The word church that we use in English is called out ones, those who choose to follow Christ. It's the individual walk. And when we get together, not forsaking the fellowship of the saints, what we're doing right here, two people, maybe at your work, talking to somebody, maybe you have a home get-together, okay? That is what that's talking about. Going to a church building, which they'll interject, you'll hear preachers do, never had anything to do with anything at all, has nothing to do with it now, never will. And it's designed to bring in money, tithing, group organization, and things that they like to call corporate. Please don't ever use the word corporate around me when it comes to walking with God. It's disgusting, and it reminds me instantly of a money-making operation which has nothing to do with walking with Christ, okay? Absolutely nothing. And it don't have anything to do with them. Now, if you're young and you need a place to go, or you're new in the walk, all right, This is what I'd tell you to do. If you wanted to go, I would go there and I would hear the basics while I was continuing to read the Bible. Okay? Continue to do that. Learn what you can. And then step out with God when you feel it's the time, and pray to God and ask Him about it and say that you want to be closer to Him, and He will pull you out when it's the right time. What does that mean? What does that look like? It means you used the church building to your advantage, and then when it was time, you cut it loose. All right, that's what it looked like. Or there's smaller ones that are out there. They're more like home churches. They're doing okay. I have to say this because I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings who's a preacher that's watching this. Yeah, that's totally fine. But the building and everything else, or you to be the constant teacher where they're constantly listening over you, has never been the idea. It's supposed to be an equal yoking between everybody. Or there's somebody that's going to be a leader, which would be a preacher position. Yeah, sure. For a time being, but that person's to develop, and everybody who's a Christian is purpose should be the same equivalent of what a preacher is. You're all preachers, you're all ambassadors for Christ. That is what you're called to do. There isn't one over you that goes to wisdom. I am not going to be the one over you. You use me for the time being. If you get into a situation where you might have a question, you're always free to ask. But it isn't to constantly rely on me. You use what you can, and the rest of the time you're spending that with God personally, okay? If you can do this, you'll be doing good, and you'll be about 1,000,000 steps ahead of the majority of 98% of Christians around the world that are on a totally other level, all right? Why does this not get through to people? Well, same way it usually does when it comes to my situation. I've got 1,000,000 people saying one thing that's a lie, while I was saying the truth, and people pick the majority because it's better. I got a story for you. When I was 21, before I asked for the secrets of the universe, it was in the same house. I was living in there, and my friend that was taking care of me let me stay there on the floor, sleeping there for a while. He was really nice, and his wife was letting me in. Well, his wife started complaining to him, "Why won't you talk to me? Why won't you talk to me?" and all this other stuff, and everything like that. And Adam, which was the name, was trying to talk to me. We were like, "Oh, my wife, she's upset. She feels like you don't want to talk to her," and stuff like that. All right. Well, I was doing it for a specific reason, because she wanted to sleep with me, okay? And I wasn't going to say anything or try to make it uncomfortable, because I appreciated it in the first place. And time went on and stuff like that, and they finally got into a fight one night, and I heard him, and she was accusing me of a whole bunch of different stuff, and he lit into her, and he said, "What are you, Satan, the accuser?" And he picked my side over his wife, and she said she was about to leave, and he goes, "Well, then leave, because he hasn't done anything wrong." And that's one of the only times in my entire life when I've seen somebody make that right decision. And this story is important for what I'm talking about. 1,000,000 pastors telling you that you have to go to a church building and pay your tithing and go to their corporate operation, and it's them that tells you what to do and not to have that relationship with God. Doesn't it sound eerily similar to the Catholics? All right? Well, this is a lie. It is. And I am right, and they are wrong against 1,000,000 people. And that night, when he told her that, she stopped and everything. So appreciative that he was about to give up his wife for the right reason, and he trusted me over her, even though I hadn't told him that she was actually mad because I was avoiding her because she was trying to sleep with me. He did the right thing. I appreciate it, and I left the house like the next day, and it was the right thing to do. The rest of the time in my life, when I'm in a situation, and I won't say similar, but in situations where family members are against me, and the family is lying to the person, and I'm telling the truth, and the family goes and they talk to their loved ones, and they're like, "We're going to believe them over you." Are they right to do that? Well, they should be, because their family is the one that should be telling the truth. However, I'd be the one that would be telling the truth, and I've had this happen so many times, it's unbelievable. And it's the same way right now. And I'm using this as an example because I'm not lying to you, all right? The church building, the whole idea of the church building, which is never mentioned in the Bible. It's a word that was used, and it switched over into a building for a gathering place. And they will try to use the Old Testament and say, we need to gather together and stuff like that. No, this was for the temple and the Jews before Jesus came. And after that, it was done. If you want to know exactly what we're entitled to do and what they put on the Gentiles after discussing it with great debate, read Acts chapter 15, all right? We're to stay away from food that's strangled, not drink blood, all right? Not eat food that's sent to idols, and to not fornicate, okay? Sleeping outside of marriage and stuff like that. That's it. If we do that, we do good. And it's our personal walk from them, okay? Every day to be a walk with the Lord, not once a week. It's every single day, all right? So keep that in mind. Your other religions, Seventh-day Adventists, for instance, the mark of Sunday, blah, blah, blah. we're supposed to be worshiping on Saturday. First off, they're bringing in old tenets that have nothing to do with us, and it means nothing to me. What are you going to do if they make you worship on Sunday? What are you talking about? I could care less. I worship God personally by myself every single day. I spend time with Him and I talk to Him, all right? How everybody's supposed to look. And you can enjoy whatever day. And the Sabbath, which Jesus made the reference for, He made it for man to remind them to rest and the importance of it and why God did it and things like that, and to appreciate it. And then He healed on it. Giving the reminder, but will you not do this? And people take things to the extreme so much, and it's crazy and it's ridiculous, and with it comes folly. I've talked about the threads of deceit. That's a little word from God, and that He kind of gave me this year, I suppose I could say. It wasn't out loud really, but I was like, what can I call this? And I said threads, and instantly in my mind was put deceit. I'm like, oh, that's very clever and catchy, I'll use that. And this is the idea that if you mess up in one area, it'll cost you another. Let me show you what that looks like. 70 Adventists say the mark of the beast is worshiping on Sunday, Sunday law, and not worshiping on Saturday. That's what it is, okay? So that's what they believe. Something twisted from the scripture when in Revelation 13 it clearly says you can't buy or sell with it. It has nothing to do with worshiping on a day or anything like that of the sort. So then I've watched videos where they're asked, well then would you take a microchip in your hand? Yeah, sure, no problem. What if it had to do with buying or selling? Yeah, sure. It has nothing to do with it because that's not the mark of the beast worshiping on Sunday is. Do you see how dangerous instantly, with the thread of deceit, messing up in one area, it'll cost you in another, that can be? It's absolutely devastating. And if those people are dumb enough to actually fall for that, it's a damnable situation, all right? Because the second you take that, all right, well, we're not worshiping on Sunday, we're doing it on Saturday, so that's okay, we're being sneaky. Oh, I'll just take the mark of the beast because that's not really the mark of the beast. Wow, so foolish, it's unbelievable. But you can see just for that example how dangerous it is, okay? I'm trying to make this video a little bit more on the basic side, okay? Get back to some fundamentals that people seem to have lost, looking for rapture dates, jumping back and forth. I'm telling you right now, be grateful that it didn't happen, and it gives you more time to talk to loved ones. Stop trying to escape and enjoy what you can right now by talking to the people that you care about and the mission that's going to boost you later. And when the rapture happens, which looks like it's going to happen very soon, enjoy that. Remember, it is the ultimate reward. Everybody up to this point for the past 4,000 or so years, other than a few, Elijah and Enoch, all right, have died of old age or being killed or whatever else. This is what everybody has to go through. To be raptured is a very special thing, and it's to pull us out from the hour of temptation, Revelation 3, all right, that Jesus speaks of when he's talking to John, that to keep us from that, all right, because we're not appointed to this thing, and he will pull us out when he does, and it'll be at his perfect time. We do not know the date. If somebody says it, instantly they're wax, shut them down, okay? We know that the time's getting near. We can look at signs for different things. It's fun to talk about. It's exciting. It gets you amped up. Trust me, I'm very jacked about it, all right? But in the meantime, don't foolishly throw the time away that you have when you can do something special for the Lord, all right? And keep that in mind, because it's very important. And for crying out loud, if you are into witchcraft or messing with something and you're watching my channel, I've already put out a video about this before. Do not mix power with weakness, and I talk about this very subject. You do not take a little bit of Christianity and mix it with the world so that you have this or power. What you're doing is you're robbing yourself from real power. You're going to be left behind, and you're not actually saved. You're mixing yourself with doctrines of demons and stuff that's even worse, okay? Don't do it. Don't do it, and I have to warn it because I see it. It's out there, all right, all the time, and people are secretly watching and doing that kind of stuff, and it's shady and it's ridiculous, and you're not fooling anybody, especially God, okay? All right, so keep this stuff in mind. I feel good that I got some of this off my chest. I covered some different areas that have been really frustrating me to the point that I don't even want to talk. And I get to the point where I'm like, what's even the point? They don't want to listen. They want to look for their next rapture date. Most of them aren't going to be going in the first place. Nothing has ever stopped that vision from showing me that I saw 8 people. Those 8 people were worthy. They were incredibly worthy because God had chosen them. I didn't have to vet them, look inside them, or judge them, or think anything of the sort before I decide to trust them and take them in. I knew instantly I could trust them. They were going to be in heaven, and they were going to be a form of absolute elites, because those that get raptured are those that are running the A, and everybody has a chance to do that, all right? Even if you're a new Christian and you're walking with God, you're not going to get too much dumped on you right now if you just started, but if you have, you need to step it up, okay? Those that are running the A, repenting, all right? when they've messed up, turn from it, continue to work. I've heard people ask questions, new guys and stuff like that, porn and different things that people have to deal with. You will never have to worry about me judging. I know that every single sin that people have and deal with on a constant basis, all right, they're all equal, they're all sin. And many of you are afraid to go because if you go to a Christian or a pastor, they're instantly going to start judging you. I understand that. And my entire life is to break the chains of things I can't stand. I do not do that. I've had gay people come to me, okay, and they're trying to get out of it. I'm not going to jump on them or anything like that. I'm going to tell them, yeah, it's a sin. Know that, recognize it, and now it's time to step out, all right, and walk with God. And when they do, it's absolutely incredible, okay? It's the same thing with every situation like that, okay? It'll be tough. You continue to do it. And when you mess up, you talk to God, all right? A lot of people are nervous to ask questions about that, especially on subjects that are touchy like that, because they feel like they're going to get jumped, and I totally understand you, because you probably would, but you're not going to be jumped like that here with me, all right? I'll be happy to pray for you and different things like that, but know that God forgives you a million times over, and if you go to Him sincerely and you ask for it and you keep working with it, you're eventually going to conquer this thing, okay? And you're going to make it through it. All right, and I feel for the young people out there that don't know the different things and are getting led astray, and I try to block it in comments because I see somebody ask a question and a million idiots that don't know jack, they act like they're tight with me and you're not tight with me, start to harp on this. I'll try and delete it so it's just me and you talking seriously, because like most of the time the advice from a lot of the people is completely worthless and they don't know what they're talking about, and then sometimes it's good. All right, but know what you're talking about if you're going to help somebody, and if not, just keep quiet. And I'll try to answer. But time is getting short. It really is. Take the time that you have right now, and don't be disheartened. Continue to walk. Do the right things. Try and lead others, especially your family, to Jesus. It's the right way to go. It's the most important thing. If you're the only one in your family, I am your family. Okay. If you're the only one and you cannot talk to them about any of this, I'm talking to you right now. All right. You can talk to me anytime, but know that my purpose is not to develop you to follow me, it's to grow you into somebody that's like me in your own way. You're not to ever to want to be like somebody else. You want to be the best of you. And when you see that and what it can develop into, you understand my reference when I say a master of a sword, a master of a bow, a master of this, a master of that. Which one's more powerful? They're all equal. They just have their place. And God will use you in that place that He decides to send you to, okay? And it's truly awesome. And I love to hear awesome stories like that where God's used you and stuff like that. Don't be discouraged. Time is almost up. It's heading in that direction. Appreciate every single day and the time that you can and learn more and draw closer to God, all right? And don't be dismayed by silly nonsense and people that are setting rapture dates and things like that. You guys should already know by now that it's whack. You should already know that you're not one of the 144,000, and anybody saying that doesn't know what they're talking about, okay? These are things that you should know instantly, all right? I've talked about it enough. You've heard the truth enough about it, okay? And if people are saying that, what are they looking for? Why do they want to be the 144,000 in the first place, all right? They want powers. They want vanity. They want to have a mantle on their head where they look great, not in heaven, on earth, all right, where that kind of stuff takes its place, and it's wrong. It's totally wrong. You see it for what its true colors is. And if you're one of the 144,000, and we know it's the Jews, what does that do through the threads of deceit? All right, because one area leads to another. Next thing you know, since the Jews are going into the tribulation, the majority of them, before they learn and God refines them, and you want to be one of the 144,000, all of a sudden you're looking at the revelation, and you're like, oh wow, since I'm one of the 144,000, and this is happening to them, it looks like I'm going into the tribulation at least midway or maybe all the way. And then look what you've done. You've created a mentality of that. You're creating your own disaster. I recommend that you avoid it at all costs. All right, know the truth. Don't get off on course. And if you're not ready to do it, stay humble for a little bit. Work with what you can. Walk and talk with God. Ask questions to Him. If you're coming back and you're asking me all the time, you're not developing the patience and really the prestige and the incredibleness it is to actually hear from God. Once you do actually hear from God, you're not going to want to hear it from me. Hearing from me is like second-rate nonsense. Hearing from God is the most incredible thing ever, and you will love it, every single bit of it, okay? Keep this in mind. I hope this helps. I really do. Time is drawing near. This is some important stuff that I need to talk about. I actually feel better, like it's off my chest right now, and maybe I can make some more videos and talk about some crazy stuff that I've seen lately, because I want to talk about the Area 51. I want to do some analysis on that, and some other interesting things that I've heard that are lining up, and especially the timeline of when that. It's very interesting, okay? But in the meantime, I had to get this out. God bless. I hope this helps. I'll see you next time on the Unleashing. Bye.